Welcome back to World Brief. Tonight, we turn our attention to a development that is sending shockwaves across political circles, leaving supporters and critics alike stunned. Former President Donald J. Trump, once known for his commanding presence and unflinching confidence on stage, has recently found himself at the center of a media firestorm following what many are calling a humiliating mistake during a late-night meltdown. The incident, which unfolded over the course of several hours, has sparked intense debate about the state of American political discourse, the pressures facing public figures, and the unexpected consequences of high-profile missteps in the modern media landscape. It all began late last evening, as social media feeds started filling with clips of Trump appearing flustered and visibly agitated during what was initially described as a casual live commentary session. Reports suggest that what was intended to be a routine engagement quickly devolved into a moment of public embarrassment, capturing the attention of millions across the country and prompting widespread analysis from political pundits, legal experts, and communications specialists alike. Observers noted that Trump, who has long been celebrated for his ability to dominate the narrative, appeared uncharacteristically disoriented, struggling to maintain the composure that has defined much of his public persona. The incident reportedly started with an off-the-cuff remark that immediately drew attention for its inaccuracy. Sources close to the event indicate that Trump made a series of statements that were widely disputed and, in some cases, verifiably false. What was particularly striking, analysts say, was not merely the factual errors themselves, but the manner in which they were delivered. Unlike prior appearances where Trump has skillfully navigated contentious topics, this late-night interaction seemed to lack the usual strategic framing. Instead, his comments escalated into what some are describing as a meltdown, marked by repeated interruptions, abrupt topic changes, and moments of visible frustration. Social media reaction was swift and, in many cases, merciless. Clips of the incident began trending on platforms like Twitter, X, and Instagram, with commentators highlighting both the content of his remarks and the unusual cadence of his delivery. Within hours, hashtags related to the meltdown were among the top trending topics nationwide, drawing attention not only from political observers but also from comedians, journalists, and everyday users. Memes proliferated almost instantaneously, focusing on Trump's tone, gestures, and apparent confusion, reinforcing a narrative of vulnerability and miscalculation that had previously been rare in his public appearances. Political analysts quickly weighed in, noting that the mistake could have implications far beyond the immediate embarrassment. Historically, missteps by high-profile political figures have had the power to shift public perception, alter the momentum of campaigns, and even influence party dynamics. In Trump's case, observers are asking whether this late-night meltdown signals a broader pattern of instability or a momentary lapse. Some experts suggest that the intense scrutiny and relentless media cycle surrounding Trump may have contributed to the pressure that culminated in this incident, raising questions about the sustainability of his public engagements and the strategies employed by his team to manage crises in real time. Legal experts, too, have chimed in, particularly regarding statements made during the session that touched upon ongoing investigations and politically sensitive topics. While no immediate legal consequences have been reported, the mere association of certain remarks with active legal matters has fueled speculation about potential ramifications. Analysts suggest that any perceived misstep in this arena can quickly become fodder for both legal scrutiny and political opposition, making the stakes of such an incident particularly high for someone already navigating multiple public controversies. What makes this particular mistake especially notable, commentators say, is the contrast between Trump's usual confident demeanor and the unusually exposed nature of this late-night episode. Traditionally, Trump has demonstrated an uncanny ability to command attention, deflect criticism, and turn potential weaknesses into rallying points for his base. Yet, in this instance, the usual mechanisms appeared to falter. Observers note a pattern of verbal stumbles, misstatements, and abrupt changes in tone that collectively painted a picture of a leader struggling to regain control of the narrative. For many supporters, this unexpected vulnerability has raised questions about consistency, preparedness, and the ability to navigate high-pressure situations effectively. Media outlets, both domestic and international, quickly seized upon the story. Coverage ranged from straightforward reporting of the facts to in-depth analysis of Trump's behavior, psychological state, and rhetorical strategies. Some outlets framed the incident as emblematic of the intense pressures facing public figures in the digital age, where every statement is amplified, dissected, and critiqued almost instantaneously. Others focused more directly on the potential political consequences, debating whether such a visible misstep could influence public opinion, voter confidence, or the dynamics within the Republican Party. Across the board, one theme emerged clearly: the incident was more than just a minor slip, it was a public event with far-reaching implications. In the hours following the meltdown, the conversation expanded beyond the immediate incident itself. Commentators explored broader questions about the role of late-night media, social media amplification, and the ways in which public perception is shaped by both narrative and spectacle. The case of Trump's mistake provides a vivid illustration of how quickly a momentary lapse can become a defining event in a larger political narrative, particularly when viewed through the lens of millions of online observers. Analysts noted that in an era where virality often trumps nuance, even a single misstatement can have outsized influence, generating discussions that extend far beyond the original context. The political implications are already beginning to take shape. Senior strategists from various parties have weighed in, suggesting that moments like these can alter the strategic calculus for both supporters and opponents. For Trump's base, the episode presents a dilemma: how to reconcile admiration for his assertiveness with concern over visible missteps. For his critics, the incident offers an opportunity to highlight perceived weaknesses and inconsistencies, potentially shaping narratives for upcoming elections, debates, and public engagements. Pollsters and analysts are closely monitoring public reaction, seeking to quantify the impact of the meltdown on approval ratings, perception metrics, and political momentum. Meanwhile, within Trump's own team, sources report that damage control efforts are already underway. Advisors are said to be consulting closely on messaging, public statements, and subsequent appearances, aiming to mitigate the fallout and reassert control over the narrative. Public relations experts note that how a figure responds in the wake of a high-profile error can be just as important as the initial event, influencing long-term perception and the capacity to rebound politically. Observers are watching closely to see whether Trump will address the incident directly, deflect with humor or alternative narratives, or attempt to move the conversation to other topics entirely. Psychologists and communication experts have also weighed in, noting that public meltdowns often reflect a complex interplay of stress, cognitive load, and environmental pressures. In Trump's case, the late-night format, the real-time feedback of social media, and the high stakes of the topics discussed may have amplified normal stress responses, contributing to what some are describing as a rare moment of disorientation. Analysts caution against simplistic interpretations, emphasizing that even seasoned public figures are susceptible to lapses under intense pressure, and that understanding the psychological dynamics can provide important context for evaluating the event. The incident has also prompted discussions about media literacy, public engagement, and the responsibilities of both political figures and journalists in shaping the discourse. In an era where clips can be shared, remixed, and commented upon almost instantly, the potential for misinterpretation, exaggeration, or viral spread is unprecedented. Experts emphasize that while the content of the mistake itself is significant, the broader ecosystem of coverage, including social media platforms, news outlets, and public forums, plays a critical role in determining its impact and longevity in the public consciousness. As the story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: this late-night meltdown is already being etched into the ongoing narrative of Donald Trump's public life. Historians, political scientists, and media analysts are likely to examine the episode for years to come, not merely as an isolated incident, but as a case study in the interplay of personality, media, and politics in the 21st century. The event underscores the fragile balance public figures must maintain, the speed at which moments can be amplified, and the enduring consequences of even brief lapses in judgment or composure. For supporters, the incident may serve as a cautionary tale about the challenges of navigating an increasingly scrutinized political landscape. For opponents, it represents an opportunity to question consistency, leadership, and preparedness. For the media, it is a vivid reminder of the power of immediacy, virality, and narrative framing in shaping public perception. And for the broader public, it offers a lens through which to consider the dynamics of political communication, the role of digital amplification, and the very human dimensions of error and accountability in positions of power. In the wake of this late-night episode, attention now turns to Trump's next moves. Will he attempt to clarify, apologize, or pivot to new topics? Will his supporters rally around him, framing the incident as a minor slip in an otherwise robust political career? Or will critics seize the moment, leveraging it to shift narratives, influence opinion, and shape the discourse leading into upcoming events and elections? The coming days and weeks are likely to provide crucial answers, as analysts monitor social media trends, public reactions, and any official statements from Trump or his team. Ultimately, this episode stands as a striking example of the intersection of personality, politics, and media in contemporary America. It highlights how a single moment, captured, shared, and amplified across multiple platforms, can reverberate far beyond its initial context, influencing perception, discourse, and strategic considerations on multiple fronts. As Trump navigates the fallout, the eyes of the nation, and indeed the world, remain fixed on the unfolding story, eager to witness the next chapter in a saga that continues to captivate, confound, and shape the political landscape in real time. The humiliation of a late-night mistake, the viral spread of the incident, the expert commentary, and the political implications together create a complex tableau that speaks to the pressures of public life in an age of relentless scrutiny. Analysts continue to dissect every word, gesture, and expression, while the public engages in vigorous discussion, debate, and analysis. It is an event that will likely be referenced in political commentary for months to come, serving as a touchstone for discussions about media strategy, leadership, and the evolving nature of public perception. As we continue to monitor reactions, social media trends, and official statements, it becomes evident that this late-night meltdown is not merely a footnote in Trump's career, but a moment of genuine consequence, a vivid illustration of how swiftly the tides of public perception can shift, and how even the most seasoned figures are vulnerable to the pressures of high-stakes engagement. The incident encapsulates the interplay of human error, media amplification, and political consequence, providing a compelling study in the vulnerabilities inherent to life in the public eye. Welcome back to World Brief, where we will continue to bring you the latest updates, expert analysis, and the unfolding developments in this story. Tonight's episode of Political Drama reminds us that in the fast-moving world of modern media, no public figure, regardless of past successes or experience, is immune to the scrutiny, critique, and sometimes unrelenting exposure that defines the digital age. Donald Trump's late-night mistake is a stark example of the unexpected, the viral, and the consequential, leaving both supporters and critics alike to grapple with its implications, debate its meaning, and anticipate what comes next in this ever-unfolding narrative.